Hey everyone, I want to talk to you about Brown versus Board of Education here in this video. And Brown v. Board of Education is a case that I know you've talked about a long time, but I want to make sure you understand how Brown versus Board of Education, how the decision relates to the U.S. Constitution. This is actually the case that was used on the AP Government Test Supreme Court question last year. All right, so Brown versus Board is a case that's decided in 1954, and I think everybody knows, if I ask you just right offhand, why is the case important? I think most people know that it desegregated schools, and that is absolutely the most important thing about this case. But some other things you should understand is that Brown versus Board overturned a previous case, Plessy v. Ferguson, 1896. And Plessy v. Ferguson, in that case, the ruling was that it's okay to have segregation. The court ruled that it was okay to have segregation, and separate but equal is okay. Established the separate but equal doctrine. So in 1896, the court ruled that separate but equal was okay, in line with the 14th Amendment Equal Protection Clause. And then Brown versus Board is going to overturn that. So if the court would have gone with stare decisis, as we talked about earlier this year, they would have just upheld Plessy versus Ferguson, and schools would have stayed segregated. But in this case, Brown v. Board, the Supreme Court decides and makes it clear that separate is not equal. And in the case involves Linda Brown. She wanted to go to school 5 blocks away, but she had to go to the non-white school 21 blocks away. So she's the person that's the plaintiff in this case. And with this decision, the constitutional question that you need to understand involves the 14th Amendment. Does segregation of schools violate the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment? So that's the CQ, the constitutional question. In the case, the majority opinion in this case, and the Chief Justice of the court is Chief Justice Earl Warren. One of the lawyers in the case is Thurgood Marshall, who becomes a Supreme Court justice later on. So you got a lot of big figures here. But in this case, they say, yes, segregation of schools is unconstitutional, and it violates the 14th Amendment Equal Protection Clause. Separate is inherently unequal. It is created, we all know why it was created. It was created to discriminate against African Americans. That's why it was there. I described to you, I think at some point, the doll baby test, where they asked where there was a psychology experiment where they asked little kids to decide which doll they wanted, a black doll or white doll. And all the white girls said they wanted a white doll. But the surprise was all the black girls also said they wanted the white doll. Many of them did, because it showed this sense of inferiority that existed. And that study was used in the majority opinion. So the majority opinion is, yes, it is unconstitutional. Separate is inherently unequal. It's a violation of the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Now, when this decision's made, it's not like the South all of a sudden said, oh my gosh, we got to desegregate schools immediately. It took a long time for this to happen, and it was slow. So you have a second decision, and that decision is Brown 2. And in that decision, the court said this needs to be done with all deliberate speed. Basically, pick it up, Southerners. Get this thing done. Desegregate the schools. And if you know your history, you probably understand and think of the Little Rock Nine and a lot of things that were happening down south after Brown v. Board. So anyway, make sure over here, you can click on this slide later. There's some other videos to take a look at that'll help you out. You even have a Mr. Betts, Beauty and the Beast parody if you want to listen to that. But make sure you understand Brown v. Board. It's one of the most important cases in the history of the U.S. Supreme Court. You should all understand it. It's important. It's an important part of U.S. history and an important part of American government. So thanks for watching. Make sure you complete your Google form and your assignment. I hope everyone's well, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.